I gave up everything for daughter and then discover. She did this behind my back and betrayed. My hands shook as I stared at the crumpled letter, the words blurring through tears I hadn't shed in years. Dad, I'm sorry, but I had to. It read, her handwriting jagged, like she'd written it in a rush. I'd given up everything, my career, my savings, my dreams for her, and this was how she repaid me. My name is Michael Harper. Once a rising architect with a corner office and a future bright enough to blind, I had it all: a penthouse in Chicago, a name in the industry, and a wife, Clara, who made every day feel like a gift. Then came Lily, our daughter, with her tiny fists and big, curious eyes. But life has a way of unraveling. Clara got sick when Lily was 5, cancer, relentless and cruel. By the time Lily was 7, it was just the two of us, me and my little girl against the world. I sold the penthouse, quit my job, and moved us to a small town in Wisconsin. I told myself it was for her: a quieter life, a fresh start, but deep down, I was running from the ghost of Clara's laugh, still echoing in my empty heart. I poured everything into Lily. I took a job as a high school janitor to be close to her, to make sure she had me when she needed me. I skipped meals to pay for her art classes, her soccer gear, her dreams. Every late night, I'd sit at the kitchen table, balancing bills, convincing myself it was worth it. She was worth it. Lily was my masterpiece, the one thing I got right, or so I thought. It started with small signs. At 16, Lily grew distant. Her hugs became quick, her smiles forced. She'd lock herself in her room, her phone glowing late into the night. I chalked it up to teenage rebellion, to grief she hadn't processed. I tried to reach her movie nights, long talks over ice cream, but she'd slip away, her eyes darting like she was hiding something. I told myself to be patient. She was growing up. She'd come back to me. Then came the night that broke me. I was cleaning out the attic, looking for Clara's old sketchbooks to surprise Lily, when I found a box tucked behind a pile of blankets. It wasn't mine. Inside were stacks of cash, a fake ID with Lily's face, and a letter addressed to someone named Jay. My heart pounded as I read it. Jay, I can't tell Dad. He'd never understand. I'm leaving soon. The money's ready. My knees buckled. My daughter, my Lily, was planning to run away. I sat there, the attic's dim bulb flickering, trying to make sense of it. The money, thousands of dollars, where had it come from? The ID, the letter, the secrecy, it felt like a stranger had written it. I thought of every sacrifice, the promotions I turned down, the friends I lost touch with, the life I buried to give her everything. And now, this: I didn't sleep that night. I waited for her to come home from her study group, my mind racing with questions I wasn't sure I wanted answers to. When Lily walked in at midnight, her backpack slung over one shoulder, I was sitting at the kitchen table, the letter in my hand. She froze, her eyes widening. Dad, what's that? She asked, her voice trembling. I held up the letter, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Lily, what is this? Who's Jay? Where did this money come from? She looked away, her lips tightening, and in that moment, I saw it: guilt. Not just guilt, but defiance. She wasn't sorry. She was caught. I was going to tell you, she said, her voice low, but you wouldn't get it. She sank into a chair, her hands twisting together. Jay is Jace. He's someone I met online. He gets me. Dad. He knows what I want. My stomach churned. Jace. Some faceless name from the internet, pulling my daughter away from me. And the money, I pressed, my voice cracking. She hesitated, then whispered, I've been selling Mom's old jewelry and some other stuff. Other stuff. The words hit like a punch. Clara's jewelry, the necklaces, the rings, the pieces she'd worn when we danced at our wedding, sold off like they meant nothing. I stood, pacing, trying to keep my anger from boiling over. Lily, I gave up everything for you. My job, my life, everything, and you're throwing it away for some guy you met online. For this, I gestured at the letter, the fake ID on the table. Her eyes flashed with anger, a fire I'd never seen in her before. You don't get it, Dad. You gave up your life, but you trapped me in it. I don't want to be stuck in this town, in your shadow, living for your sacrifices. I want my own life. Her words cut deeper than I thought possible. Trapped. Was that how she saw me? A cage. I demanded to know more about Jace. She told me he was 20, a musician, someone who promised her a life of adventure, of freedom. They'd been talking for months, planning to run away to California. She'd been stealing from me, from Clara's memory, to fund it. I felt like I was drowning. Lily, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Do you know what you're doing? This guy could be dangerous. You're 16. You don't know him. I know him better than I know you, she shouted, tears streaming down her face. You're always working, always tired, always talking about Mom like she's the only thing that matters. I'm here, Dad. I'm alive, but you don't see me. Her words were a knife, twisting in my chest. Had I failed her that badly, had I been so caught up in my grief, my sacrifices, that I'd missed her cries for help? The next morning, I called the police, not to punish her, but to protect her. They traced Jace's online profile. He wasn't 20, he was 32, with a record for fraud and worse. Lily's face crumpled when I told her, her defiance crumbling into shame. She didn't speak to me for days. I didn't push her. I was too busy wrestling with my own guilt. Had I driven her to this, was her betrayal my fault? Weeks passed, and we tiptoed around each other. I enrolled her in therapy, hoping it would help her process what she'd done, what she'd almost lost. I started therapy too, facing the truth I'd avoided. I'd been living for Clara's memory, not for Lily. I'd buried my pain in her future, expecting her to carry it. One night, she came to me, her eyes red from crying. Dad, she said, her voice small. I'm sorry, I felt so alone. I pulled her into a hug, the first real one in months, and we cried together. Rebuilding trust wasn't easy. Lily gave up her phone, her secrets. I gave up my pride, my need to control her path. We started small cooking together, talking about her dreams, not mine. I found a new job, one that let me breathe again, and saved for her college fund. But this time, I asked what she wanted. She didn't know yet, and that was okay. We were learning to see each other, not as savior and saved, but as father and daughter, flawed and trying. Looking back, I see the cracks I ignored: her silence, her anger, my own blindness. I gave up everything for Lily, but I almost lost her by holding too tight. Betrayal stings, but it also teaches. It showed me that love isn't sacrifice alone. It's listening, letting go, and trusting her to find her way, even when it hurts. What do you think? Was I wrong to give up so much for Lily? Or was she wrong to betray my trust? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear where you stand. In